I think we look at this mama's boy. I've got a real mama's boy problem. Like I'm zero tolerance on mama's boys. And let me define, you know, there's also a definition here. Yeah. Let me define for you a mama's boy. Rosette was telling us a story about a friend who she knows is a mama's boy. She actually has a friend married to a mama's boy. Share with us that experience. Yeah. And I won't have to define a mama's boy. That will be a mama's boy.
Please note, they had to divorce because he was a mama's boy. What happens is when he goes shopping, safari, because he used to work up country, when he brings all the food, the Irish, the matoke, he will want to take it to his mama and then ask the wife to go so that mama pulls a portion for them.
They are married. They are married. He doesn't take the food home. He takes the food to his mother's house and then sends the wife. Do you want to be married to that man?
What I'm trying to say, I'll say this once again, from my experience. It is very easy for, when I'm telling a story, right? When I'm saying, can you imagine what Oje did to me? Do you see how I cut out the parts that I am responsible for?
No, we're not talking about those parts. Let's pretend they don't exist.
So for example, where does the mom stay? Is he the first?
Please continue. Yeah, say that part.
He decided because wifey was like, you know what, we need to find a home farther away from mama, you know, let's start our family. He's like, hell no. We need to be close to mama. Mama can't live a week without seeing me.
True.
And you stop.
You don't want, okay, so let's go back into this discussion of the whole mama's boy concept. We've married, we've dated, we've friended mama's boys, and they're problematic to us. We can see it from our point of views. Yeah, we're an extreme. Of course, there's levels. There's definitely levels, and there's 1, 2, 3, and there's 4. But now there's 9.
That is what you all. That's what they. I knew her. That's what they.
Now, guys, back to the point. Yes. If you're raising a mama's boy, like you say your husband thinks you're raising a mama's boy, you're not sure it will go to the extreme. You're hoping it doesn't. But what if you're raising an extremist?
Okay, so now,
how do you catch yourself? How do you draw the line?
How do you draw the line?
How do you know what you're doing?
Because can I tell you what, as a parent, a mama's boy is very difficult to identify in a negative light. Because it is your husband who will see it. But guess what? Mama's boy will be always attentive. You give, like you said, you give him instructions, he follows through. Those are mama's boys. He will never talk back at you. They are usually very.
Because that's a well-adjusted boy.
That's what you call them. That's what you call them until someone else marries them, and then they become mama's boy.
They want them to have a spine and be able to stand on their 2 feet and make.
That's why I said that we need boys, and this is just a saying. If you need a boy, you need boys who have both a backbone and a heart. Because you also don't want to raise a savage who cannot listen, who's not attentive to his wife's feelings, who's not attentive to what, who has no emotional, no connection whatsoever. So just how do you find that middle line?
As an individual, you've seen me, so you say you may not be able to see. I'll tell you, I read. I do a lot of reading. I don't do my parenting by experience and by life, by assumptions and this sort of thing. I really do my research, and I've seen what a mama's boy can be right at the young age, and it's exactly what you said. Usually, the symptoms and signs that they have are good things when they're young. They are positive. How you speak of Blake, that's how they are, and it's good, and you're trying to cultivate that, but you don't really realize what you're doing or that you're doing it, or you know. So it's a question. So right now, essentially, Blake, since he's the example we are using, Blake should be disorganized. No. Should be help. I know. Help.
Don't promote.
What am I promoting?
Now go to the girl. You see how, if Blake is, I'm not saying that what you're doing is wrong, no.
Okay,
it's just at the point that we've used Blake. Okay, if you have a child, and then you say, me, this is the child who, if I do anything, they are the ones who are going to do for me.
Yes.
Forget about that child. Now concentrate on the one who is not doing it.
No.
If, okay, Auntie, now I don't want to use Blake.
Bob and Diana.
Okay, so there's Bob and Diana. Diana is disorganized, doesn't do anything. She's just, but Bob, on the other hand, wow. Bob is always going to do. That one, let him do. Let it not be like, Mommy is going to come and tell me to do, and she's going to say, and I'm going to do. And I know Diana is going to misbehave, so let me be the one who comes and always tells her, why don't you? And this is what always happens. They'll send that good person to go and calm that disorganized one down. That's your job.
Yeah.
Leave this one. Let him know that he's there, and he's like, I'm like this.
Okay, so but now let's take it back. Let's reel it back into my personal example. Bianca is just the same. Only that for her, she's loud. Like now, for example, Bianca, if you tell her today it's her turn to make sure that everything is in order, she's not one who will scream, Mommy, I see Blake has done X, Y, Z. She's just as responsible. Like she's a responsible girl. No. She's just loud. But I will tell you, she's just as attentive to what I say. She's just as a girl.
So personalities are different. I want to ask Pumla. I think in like the things that you've read, especially raising Teja, I hope you have an answer to this question. What would you? Because you've said the things that Manuela sees in her son are positive things, they usually and are positive. Maybe there is no point in reinforcing them because we already know that's positive. Yeah. How does she ensure, or how do we ensure as mothers of boys, to give our sons a spine, like make them responsible and able to stand on their 2 feet
and still have a heart.
Yes, how do we find okay, and
I think the truth is the way women are built, be you Manuela on one side and whether Angie on one side, is we will raise mothers' boys because we are women. We are wired like women. We'll teach them, mothers' boys will wash dishes, they'll pick up, you understand me? Now, to be you can't really say that if I do this, then I can be able to get to strike that balance. Yeah. I see it come from, once again, the family. Okay. You're right. Boys need a father.
Yeah.
As mothers, we raise mothers' boys. Even Teja, you're raising him and you're doing everything right.
Yeah.
If he will be a mother's boy. Now it is daddy who comes in. Because
I think for me, I want to ask. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Define this thing that you are talking about, raising a boy. Like what is it that you want? No, not a mother's boy. Aren't we already going to raise mother's boys? Whether we like it or not, sips drink. But let me ask you, Pumla, who has real jam. Yeah. You have Teja, say for example. You have Blake. Right? I have told you Blake is responsible, yet he's also attentive, yet he's also sensitive, yet he's in touch with his emotions, but also he makes his own decisions. Like he will tell you, Mommy, I have an idea. Instead of doing this, let us do this. No, Mommy, I don't think. He is still able to do all of that stuff. Then you have Tej. So what is this difference between what is this thing called raising a boy? I think that's my question. What exactly are you looking for?
I think the most important is where she comes in. It's natural for a man to raise a boy. Yeah. It's not natural for us. It's natural for a woman to raise a mama's boy. But because I've decided to make a conscious decision to respond like a man to my boy. It's a conscious decision.
I don't know what it is. I like when Pumla says she has made a conscious decision to not raise a mama's boy. You know why that comes in? The story I've just told you. Perhaps it's that mother who will tell the boy, bring the food here. And
it is the mother.
So it comes back to us.
I think we are getting something wrong. I feel we are getting something wrong because we are not defining. Are we saying that to raise a boy is a boy who is insensitive, doesn't have any feelings? So what exactly are you looking like? What is it?
There are things as a mother that you end up promoting and you don't realize that you're promoting because it's natural. But I'll tell you me what you'll do with your son who is sensitive and does fears. You'll say, the fire will burn him.
Do you domesticate him, for example?
I'll tell you. No, I'll tell you.
Tell me, this is a quality for a boy, this is a quality for a girl, so that I can know that.
Now, as I said earlier, boys have their attention is zero. So you end up making excuses for them because of that thing that how they are. And that's usually what we do. It's natural as a mom. It's just natural. She says, Teja cooks. But do you know what Teja says to me? He wants to play. That's not what he wants to do. He's good in other things. No. That's not what he wants to do.
He was interested.
So, he's interested, but he's interested in coming to star.
Not to be there.
Not to be there doing the actual hard work. And you know what you'll do? You'll say, my son is nice. He comes and helps me. But you don't realize that he's just coming to come and start and then go back. Now, for me, in his defense as a mom, I'll say, boys are like that. They have an attention issue. Then I let him go. But that's not how it should be. No. That boy, you'll be there together in the kitchen. He sees flips until you see sweat.
So now that's raising a boy.
That's raising a boy.
So if you already have a boy who has a good attention span, who will come and cook the whole. So now they're exception. We're talking about generalization. Because now that's my issue right now. That's my issue right now. That now that is being
over the average boy. Raise your kids the best way you can. A mama's boy is a mama's boy because he chooses to do that as an adult. Do you understand me? You make the choice. Because you can do everything, right? You'll teach this. He will choose, like my sons. They cook, they clean, they everything. But when they knock about 15, 16, their own character comes out. You understand me? It's like, Mom, the girls and what? I can have two. I'll decide from there. And I'm like, but that's not how I raised you. But the man in him comes out, and he's also building himself with the men that he's seeing. But a mother cannot be in charge of a child who's 30 years old. You make your choice. Our job, let them know how to clean, cook, this and this, and then they move on. After that, it's not our business. That said, as mothers, what lesson do you feel that you would like to impart on our sons?
After all this talking.
For me, it's empathy.
Oh my gosh, you took the words out of my
Empathy. Empathy. Learning from the beginning that washing dishes is hard. So if your wife is pregnant, but if he's never cooked, he's never mopped, he's not done all these things, he can't know what it feels like.
Right there with you.
I think for me, I had a different word for it. It's just being sensitive to people's feelings. Because of that, you will listen more, you will see more. Because I feel like their world has been enhanced with this ego thing. It's just about me. I'm the one. I do. But can we get to a place where we have a man like this, but that sees you, that hears you, that feels you, and yet not lose that? We find out in our next episode of Bump Love, after speaking to Godfrey Kutesa, the founder of the Boys Mentorship Program. See you next time.